Today we're reviewing the first of Yi Sang's Teth Egos, and that ego is Wishing Crane. Wishing Crane is a 10th level ego. It has a 22 base with a +4 roll, does piercing damage, and has an attack weight of 3. On hit, you inflict 2 sloth for agility, and on headset, you inflict 3 paralysis. It's pretty short in what it does, but 3 paralysis on headset is always good, and 2 sloth for agility is always appreciated. For your passive, Do Heru Bang, I probably pronounced that wrong. At the start of turn, gain 3 blunt protection and 1 sloth protection. This is a very potentially solid passive. Let's say you're fighting someone who does blunt and sloth damage. Oh my goodness, is this ever going to be a good passive? But if you're fighting someone who does gloom pierce damage, well, it's not going to be very useful, but still pretty good. When you use this ego, you're going to be losing 20 sanity, and it's going to cost you 4 sloth resources and 1 gloom resource. All in all, fairly cheap, to be honest with you. 4 sloth is not too hard to come by, and gloom ain't too hard to come by, especially one of it. So, very good price. Your resistances will change to ineffective to sloth, fatal to gluttony, and fatal to gloom, which is pretty good. We don't have too much gluttony attackers, so becoming fatal to that is not the worst thing in the world. I'll say that. Upon corroding, your roll will change to a 29 with a -10 coin, so worst case scenario, 19, that's not that bad. Your attack damage type will change to a blunt damage, and you will still have 3 attack weight. On hit, inflict 1 sloth for agility, inflict 2 paralysis, and on headset, inflict 2 bind 3 bind actually next turn. That's pretty good. I mean, she's a season 1 ego. Well, not even. She's been here since launch, which means it's gonna be pretty short, pretty sweet. I'm not gonna have paragraphs written like how Captain Ishmael has or all the Resonance egos have, but that doesn't mean it's bad, because by no means is this a bad ego. Actually, this is probably one of my personal favorite Teth egos. Now, it's time to look at the drip. As the ego was short and sweet, the drip is simple and stylish, because it doesn't add too much, but makes them pretty fancy, and I really like the drip on this ego. And the corrosion is also phenomenal. Like, the corrosion is very good. So I think I'm going to give it a 9, honestly. I like it that much. I really like it that much. For the strength of this ego, it has a very good base and a roll that doesn't bring it that high. Honestly, it's pretty middle of the road when it comes to maximums of tests, but it's still good, right? 22 on base is very solid, and all the fragility you're inflicting by 2 on your base and 1 on your corrosion is very good. So I gotta rate that a whopping like 7.5-ish, 7.5, maybe 8. No, 7.5. And the usefulness of this ego. Inflicting paralysis on enemies is always useful, and some bind's always nice, and fragility is very helpful. It's not fragility, but it's a sin type fragility, so it's close enough. But that on top of the passive, which is potentially super good in certain scenarios, all in all, give it a pretty good usefulness rating of a whopping 8. 8 is very good. 8's not too high, but it's also not low. It's very respectable. Yeah, that's about it. Not too much to say about this ego. Honestly, I hope the next one will make up for the last 2 being relatively short, but who knows. Have a good one.